Welcome back to the deep dive. When you talk about IT certifications, well, the Red Hat Certified System Administrator, the RHCSA, it's pretty much the gold standard, right?
It really is.
It's like the definitive benchmark for core GNU Linux sysadmin skills. And look, most people, quite reasonably, spend months just trying to figure out, what's the bare minimum needed to pass.
And usually that's where the conversation stops. Sufficiency, just getting over the line.
Exactly.
But for, let's say, the really ambitious folks, the goal isn't just passing. So today we're doing a deep dive into the actual strategy, the whole picture for hitting a perfect 300 score on the first try.
Oh, wow. Okay, a perfect 300.
Yeah.
That signals something. Well, beyond just competence, it's like flawless mastery, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And our sources are pretty clear. Achieving that level takes a holistic approach. It's more than just the tech knowledge. It pulls in strategic execution, personal readiness. It almost sounds like preparing for, I don't know, a major competition.
That's actually a really good analogy given the nature of the exam itself. I mean, this benchmark, it isn't brand new. It replaced the old RHCT, the Red Hat Certified Technician. That was back in 2010 with RHCL6.
Right, I remember that shift.
And it wasn't just a name change. It seriously upped the ante on the required baseline skills.
And the thing that makes this specific cert so tough, it's 100% performance-based.
Totally hands-on.
Yeah.
You're not sitting there answering multiple choice questions or writing essays.
Nope.
You get a live system. Sometimes it's even partially broken. You're told, okay, configure this, fix that. So precision, speed, efficiency. They're not just nice to haves. They're basically the only way you succeed.
Okay, so let's unpack that. This goal of 300, we have to start with the why. Why aim that high when, 210 points gets you the pass?
Well, what's really interesting is how aiming for 300 completely changes your whole relationship with the material. It's a fundamental shift.
Oh, so?
If you're just aiming to pass, you study for sufficiency. You figure out what's just enough. But if you aim for 300, you're forced to study for mastery. That goal, 300, it becomes this kind of forcing function that just elevates all your study habits.
Ah, okay. And that mastery mindset, it must build in a kind of buffer, right? Exam day stressful, we all know that.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a weird glitch or you misread a question slightly.
Exactly.
If you were only prepped for, say, 210, those little things could actually fail you.
Right. But if you're truly prepared for 300, you've banked those extra points. Potential disasters just become minor irritations. You have that margin.
Yeah, okay.
And the practical upsides are huge. Preparing for that level forces you to make complex, multi-step tasks feel routine, like muscle memory.
Right.
And when you can operate that fast, that accurately, you stay calm, you're methodical. And that's the mental state you absolutely need in a high-pressure, timed exam.
Makes sense. And professionally, what does hitting that perfect score actually signal out in the industry?
Oh, it's a massive differentiator. Think about it. In the sysadmin world, one tiny typo can bring things grinding to a halt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a 300 tells an employer, this person has exceptional precision, serious attention to detail. It proves you don't just know the commands, you can execute them flawlessly under pressure. It's really the hallmark of a top-tier professional, someone truly committed to mastering their craft.
Okay, so the mindset's locked in, aim for mastery. Now we got to talk about the nuts and bolts, building that technical foundation. Our sources are unanimous on this. Theory alone is completely useless for this exam.
Absolutely useless. A dedicated hands-on lab environment, it's probably the single most critical piece of the puzzle. That's your training ground. That's where you fail fast, learn the consequences of errors, and really build that command line muscle memory.
So if you're prepping at home, what are the best ways to actually set up this lab?
You basically got two solid options. First, the local lab. You use virtualization software. KVM is great. VirtualBox works too. Virtualization lets you run multiple RHEL-like systems in isolation on your own machine. But you do need decent hardware. We generally say minimum 8 gigs of RAM just for those virtual machines.
All right, dedicated RAM. And the second option, if maybe your home machine isn't quite up to it.
The cloud lab.
Oh.
Use an affordable provider like Linode, maybe others. They're great. The real advantage there isn't just accessibility. It's the ability to almost use infrastructure as code thinking. You can instantly destroy and rebuild your entire environment.
Oh, okay.
Which is fantastic practice for those foundational install and setup tasks. It's like built-in space repetition.
Good point. And regardless of where you set it up, the choice of operating system, that's non-negotiable.
Has to match the exam.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You need a RHEL clone, Rocky Linux, Alma Linux, something that ensures every file path, every service name, every command behaves exactly as you'll see it on exam day. No surprises.
And for all that practice, the guiding star has to be the official Red Hat objectives. That's the single source of truth.
100%. Every single hour you spend studying needs to map directly back to one of those official objectives. And the way you practice needs to follow that learn, practice, verify cycle for every single task.
Learn it, do it till it's automatic, then check your work.
Exactly. Learn the concept, practice until it's second nature, and then verify the system state. Make sure it actually did what you intended.
Okay, and here's something interesting that came up. The importance of being good with the documentation itself. Specifically the man pages.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Because those manual pages, man pages, info pages, they are the only resource you're allowed during the actual tests.
Right. No Google.
No Google, no notes. So if you can quickly find the exact command syntax or that obscure option you need using man, you save massive amounts of time. You're not guessing, you're not second guessing. It's a huge efficiency booster.
Okay, being good with man pages sounds like a lifesaver for time. But how do you actually build up that speed and that deep understanding? That sounds like where this idea of deliberate practice comes in. We're talking more than just banging out commands over and over, right?
Yeah, exactly. Deliberate practice isn't mindless repetition. It's focused training designed specifically to push you just outside your comfort zone. You identify your weaknesses, and you systematically work on them. Our sources point to, really, 3 key techniques for building that kind of mastery.
Okay, technique 1 sounds pretty intuitive. Practice against the clock. Timing yourself.
You have to. You absolutely must be efficient. Timing yourself and doing it early in your prep shows you exactly where you slow down, where you hesitate, where you might be making silly repeated errors. You need that speed not just to finish all the tasks, but to leave yourself a good chunk of time at the end for verification.
Makes sense. Okay, technique number 2, and this one felt like a real aha moment reading about it, the break and fix method. Now, wait a minute. If I'm already a pretty decent sysadmin, why would I intentionally break my own perfectly good configurations? Doesn't that seem counterintuitive or like overkill?
It might seem like it at first, but it's actually the opposite of overkill. It's probably the most critical step for building diagnostic resilience. See, you know how to set things up correctly, right?
Right.
But on the exam, when something inevitably is broken or goes wrong unexpectedly, you need to be able to figure it out fast. So yeah, intentionally misconfigure a logical volume, apply the wrong Linux context on purpose, corrupt a config file, then challenge yourself.
Yeah.
Can I troubleshoot this and fix it correctly within, say, 5 or 10 minutes?
Oh, okay.
Doing that deepens your understanding way beyond just following setup steps. It builds those crucial diagnostic skills.
I get it now. So you're turning potential panic moments into practiced routines. Okay. And technique number 3, rebuilding from scratch.
Just what it sounds like. Regularly tear down your entire lab environment and rebuild it completely from scratch. It forces you to rely on that core installation knowledge, those initial setup procedures, using the docs over and over again. It locks that foundational stuff into long-term memory. It's pure spaced repetition, but for your entire infrastructure setup.
Gotcha. And to kind of supplement all this heavy lab work, the sources also mention using good learning materials, right? Like comprehensive books, names like Sander van Vook, Michael Jang often come up.
Yeah, those are classics.
And maybe video courses too, like on Udemy or O'Reilly.
Those resources are excellent for providing the structure, the why behind the commands. You need that conceptual understanding, especially for troubleshooting when things don't work as expected. But remember, all that learning, all that practice, it has to culminate in taking realistic, full-length practice exams.
Right.
That's where you truly test everything together. Your speed, your accuracy, your time management, your overall readiness under that strict, unforgiving clock.
Okay, so let's shift gears now. We built the foundation, we've practiced deliberately, now it's exam day. Strategic execution. The actual tactics you use from the moment the proctor says go to nail that 300. It sounds like this starts immediately with time management. What's the very first thing you should do?
Initial reconnaissance. Absolutely. Yeah. Dedicate those first 5, maybe 10 minutes just to reading every single question carefully.
Every single one before touching the keyboard.
Yes. You need the full picture. Understand the scope, identify any dependencies, where one task relies on another being done first, and then form a quick mental plan of attack. And crucially, start with the task you feel most confident about.
Secure the easy points first. Build some momentum.
Exactly. Get some points on the board, build confidence, alleviate some of that initial pressure.
Okay, good strategy. Then comes the discipline of time boxing. What does that mean in practice?
It means you have to be ruthless with your time. If you hit a problem and you're just spinning your wheels on it, let's say it's been 10, maybe 15 minutes, and you're not making progress, you must move on immediately.
Even if you feel close.
Even if you feel close. We've all been there, right? Falling down some rabbit hole, trying to fix one obscure permission issue or a weird config syntax.
Guilty.
That's what absolutely kills your score. It's far, far better to cut your losses, move on, and complete maybe 3 other easier high-point tasks than to burn, 30 or 40 minutes wrestling with one single difficult problem. Bank the points you can get.
Okay, be disciplined, move on. And probably the most critical strategic move, the one that avoids those 0-point didn't survive reboot errors, strategic rebooting.
Yes, you cannot afford to wait until the last 5 minutes of the exam to see if your changes actually persist. That's way too late.
Right, panic time.
Total panic time. You can make it a habit. Reboot the system at logical points during the exam. Finished editing, etc. tab to mount something. Reboot. Just configured a critical network service to start automatically. Reboot.
So you test persistence as you go.
Precisely. If your system fails to boot because you made a typo in FestTab, well, that's a huge task. Potentially worth 0 points. Better to find that out with an hour left than with 2 minutes left. Rebooting confirms your work, proves persistence, and locks in those points before the clock runs out.
Okay, let's talk about those things that trip people up, the fatal errors. What are the common pitfalls that stop even well-prepared candidates from getting that perfect score?
Well, number one, and this might surprise you, it's often not a lack of technical knowledge. It's misreading the question.
Really? Just misread?
Yeah. The requirements in RHCSA tasks are always incredibly specific. They'll ask for a precise user ID number, or a very specific directory name, or a particular set of permissions, maybe an exact size for a partition. If you fail to meet those exact details, even if the rest of your work is fine, that task often scores 0 points.
Ouch.
So the advice is simple but critical. Read every single requirement in the question at least twice, maybe even 3 times for complex ones.
Okay, read carefully. Pitfall number 2 you already touched on. Lack of persistence.
Yep. If your configuration, whatever it is, doesn't survive a system reboot, you get 0 points for that task, period. This is usually where people forget simple things like running system pale enable to make a service start automatically on boot.
Or saving network config changes correctly?
Exactly. Or making sure those etc. stab entries are perfect. 0 points for non-persistent work.
Brutal. And finally, pitfall number 3, precision errors. Little mistakes that cost big points.
We're talking simple typos in commands or config files. Incorrect file permissions may be 644 instead of 640. Or, and this is a huge one, incorrect Linux contexts.
Linux.
It's a mandatory access control system, right? If the security context is wrong on a file or directory that a service needs to access, that service will fail completely, even if everything else is configured perfectly.
So even for a complex task, one wrong Linux label means 0 points.
Often, yes. Flawless execution is basically mandatory for a perfect score. Double-checking every command, every file permission, every Linux context. It's not optional if you're aiming for 300s.
This sounds intense, which brings us nicely to the last section, the holistic edge. It feels a bit strange talking about this for a deeply technical exam, but you're saying achieving a perfect score actually requires peak mental and physical readiness.
It absolutely does. Think of it as the marathon mentality. The RHCSA isn't a sprint. It's a multi-hour, high-stakes endurance event. But for your brain, your physical fitness has a direct impact on your mental acuity, your ability to focus, and crucially, your stamina to maintain that focus for hours on end under pressure.
How does that connection work? I mean, physical fitness for sysadmin work.
Well, regular exercise literally enhances cognitive functions. Things like memory recall, focus, problem-solving ability. They all get a boost from increased blood flow to the brain. But maybe even more importantly, exercise is a key tool for managing stress hormones like cortisol.
The stress management angle.
Exactly. A candidate who's physically conditioned is better equipped to stay calm, maintain focus, think clearly, even in the last hour of the exam. That allows them to meticulously double-check those Linux contexts or proofread their stab one last time without making fatigue-induced errors.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So let's say the exam is tomorrow. What should that final 24 hours look like? Is it cramming time?
Absolutely not. The focus shifts completely away from active, intense learning to more passive review and relaxation. Avoid cramming like the plague.
Right.
Maybe do a light review of your personal cheat sheets, key syntax notes, things like that. The goal is just consolidation, maybe boosting confidence, definitely not cramming new information or exhausting yourself.
And the practical, logistical.
Yeah, all of that sorted the day before. Confirm the exam location, know your route, lay out your ID and any required documents, and critically, prioritize getting a full night's sleep. eat a good, nutritious meal. You want to walk into that exam room feeling calm, confident, and most importantly, well-rested. That's how you maximize your cognitive performance on the day.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, what's the big takeaway for you, the listener, pursuing that perfect RHCSA score, the 300? It sounds like it's not really about being some kind of Linux genius. It's more about a really disciplined, fully integrated approach.
That's the heart of it, yeah. The perfect score isn't magic. It comes from integrating that deep technical practice done in a smart strategic lab environment with flawless execution tactics on exam day, like time management, like reboot verification, and underpinning it all with disciplined personal readiness, both mental and physical. You're essentially turning yourself into a high-performance system administrator throughout the preparation process.
So if you approach your studies with that level of rigor, that holistic view, you're not just prepping for an exam certificate. You're really preparing for an exceptional career in IT.
Exactly. And maybe the final thought is this. The real lasting value of aiming for 300 isn't actually the number itself. It's the professional discipline, the habit of precision, the efficiency under pressure that you cultivate during that incredibly rigorous preparation. Those habits, that's the foundation for being a truly successful, exceptional Gina Linux sysadmin long after you've forgotten the exam details. That's the knowledge, the skill set you keep forever.
That's a powerful way to look at it. A fantastic thought to leave everyone with. Thank you for diving deep with us today. We'll catch you next time.